So I'm here, again, my name's Ted Bruns. I'm a head of scholarly communication at Eastern Illinois University. I'm talking about a project that I actually talked about and presented at last year in Chicago. It's sort of an update on that. So can I get a quick show of hands? How many people were here at Chicago last year? Okay, so about half of you. So those who raised your hand, some of this will be a little repetitive, but hopefully it's still going to be interesting. I am going to give new information as well. For those of you who weren't at Chicago, then this will be a bit of an introduction to what I'm doing at Eastern. So a little bit of background about Eastern. We're a regional comprehensive university, about 8,000 students. We give master's and bachelor's degrees. We are historically a normal school, which is, a school that teaches teachers. And the KEEP, which is what I do, launched in 2010. And I was brought on board specifically to do that. So I was one of the people like Meredith who was able to come in and kind of build from the ground up. We have about 100,000 documents, about 9 million downloads so far, and we also have some other related platforms. Our Pure instance is Scholars.edu. We also have digital exhibits, and we use the third-party app AnyFlip extensively throughout our repository, so lots of flip books. So it gives you a little bit of background about us. So what I'm going to talk about today is Panther Tracks, which is our project at EIU to try to encourage our campus to move from a moderated submission model to a self-submission model. So it's really a culture change. Anytime you're talking about a culture change, it's going to be extensive, right? It's going to be a multi-year project. So part one is kind of the why. Why are we doing this? And there's three different reasons for why we are even doing this at all. Part two is to give you some case samples of how Panther Tracks is being implemented and how it's progressing, and some of the things that I've learned as getting involved with this and making this happen. Okay, so reason number one, this relates to the concept of liberatory librarianship. So, and the idea here is that institutions by nature are going to tend to reinforce the status quo. Even well-intentioned institutions like higher education, like libraries, we are still gatekeepers. We talk about like authority when it comes to content and such. That can have the impact, unintentional often, of underrepresenting or misrepresenting different aspects of people. I am not going to give you examples of all of these due to time constraints, but I can just give you one, for example, LGBTQ invisibility. So my experience as an undergraduate at a couple of different institutions, we had a LGBTQ plus group. We were not able to meet on campus because it was not an official group. It was too much of an issue or whatever. So just simple things like that, like what the New York Times chooses to report on, right? These are all examples of where voices are not being heard. So the idea of Panther Tracks and liberatory librarianship is to empower. It's to give people a chance to tell their own stories, to say what's important to them, and to give them the tools to do so. And so the idea here is centering the student voices, amplifying their perspectives, and laying the groundwork for correcting some of these historical gaps. So that's what we're hoping to do. Now, I mentioned that there were three issues of why we're doing this. So that was number one. Number two is something we're also very familiar with, which is the idea of the problems with social media. So right now, our students, as they live their campus lives, they are uploading stuff to Instagram, to Flickr. They're using Yik Yak to complain about the professors, right? So, so there's a number of issues involved with when you start living a digital life like this. One is simply hardware. Like if you are storing everything on your computer and you're not uploading it somewhere or preserving it somewhere, you are at risk of crashes. I know this for a fact because I was very stupid and did it myself, where I had a desktop computer that crashed twice, and my partner and I didn't replace it, and the third time it crashed. It was just done. And so we had like years of like trip photos and what have you that were gone. So you might say, well, Todd, why didn't you upload it somewhere? I did, to Facebook. And if you've ever tried to find content through Facebook, like from 10 years ago, good luck, right? So we're dealing with unreliable platforms that don't really have metadata, so you can go back and find things. And also we'll engage in some activities that people always sign away and say, you know, you agree to the user agreement, right? Essentially like Instagram is like, I have copyright of all your images you've uploaded and I can use them for whatever I want to. So that's the issue of data plundering and also no intellectual property protection, right? When you upload stuff to like Facebook or Instagram, you know, you and I be able to say, this is my content, you have to give me credit, you can't use it, that kind of thing. Okay, second issue. Third issue is goodbye analog, and I said and people, and I realized after the fact in the era of AI, I probably should not be saying this because people are going to probably panic and be like, what do you mean? But this is about things that are happening on our campus. EIU has shrunk a bit, and so we've had drops in international students recently. We have dropped from 600 some faculty down to 360 faculty. We've had some staff layoffs as well. All of these combine to mean that we're essentially are doing less. You know, the whole thing is do more with less. At a certain point, you reach the point where you can't do more with less. And so what we're seeing here on our campus is the student newspaper, for example, went from being a daily newspaper to being produced once a week. Now they do have digital stories, but you know, how well are those actually being preserved? We also had an annual yearbook which has gone away. Our university archives rarely receives analog items anymore. And so this whole concept is now we're living this digital life on campus, but how's it being preserved? So we're trying to encourage our students to preserve it themselves. Like, don't just upload to Instagram, don't just upload to Facebook, upload to the Keep so that 10 years from now, you can come back and find it, right? So that's kind of the whole gist of why are we doing this. So Panther Tracks in action. This is a screenshot of our repository. And you might notice in that row of boxes, the second row, or the bottom row, a second from the left is Panther Tracks. So that's the little box that jumps students in to where this is in our repository. The right screenshot is a poster card that I hand out to the RSOs when I meet with them, to the Greeks and the other student groups, to basically encourage them to participate in this process. So we set up a whole section of the Keep for them. We're promoting it by meeting. I'm doing like lots of wearing out the shoe leather. I'm meeting with student groups to get them on board with this. These two screenshots are kind of how I'm treating how they can deposit into the repository. So the middle one is structured deposit, where I set up a page for their group. So like Sigma Phi Epsilon has a page in there, EIU Pride has a page in there, and I basically show them, okay, here's your page, and here's where I can create structures for you. Like if you have an activity, we'll set up a content page for it, and I'll help you with uploading and that kind of thing. The right screenshot is direct deposit, and that's where individual students can just submit items. And so I'm trying to get them into this habit of submitting. I was also trying to get my faculty into the habit of submitting because, again, we've been highly moderated deposit, so they have often just sent me their stuff and said, you do it. So now they have this nice blue button there for faculty that says submit your content. That part has gone really smoothly. They basically submit to one giant collection, which then filters to their individual department research areas. For the students, it's been a little bit more of kind of going back to the structured because of the nature of the content. Is it photos? Is it video? Is it, so then it determines where it's going to go, right? So I kind of point them to, go to your RSO page and then go back. Okay. How am I doing on time? I'm okay. Okay. So some of the case studies here. So some of these were presented last year, and I'm giving you updates on kind of where they are now. So this is Mason Tegler. He was the president of our Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity, and his quote is basically saying how excited he was about Panther Tracks. It's an opportunity to say, hey, we were here and leave our legacy behind. What did I just do? Oh, okay. But so what's the update 9 months later? So we're talking 9 months later, right? There's been a challenge of time commitment. Like they are really excited about it. I created all these structures for them. But fraternities do so much, right? They're doing all these charity things, and they're involved with their classes, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. So trying to get them to actually commit the time to submit stuff is proving to be something where I kind of have to work with them on that. But there's lots of positivity, lots of identified value, just little action so far. I'm hoping if I present on this next year, I'll be able to say something more advanced than that. But Tyria, Creative Writing Club, was very prescient because in her quote, she was saying one of the things that Panther Tracks could do is help keep a club running, which unfortunately didn't work out for the Creative Writing Club. It actually folded. But now what we're trying to do is I'm working with Ty to relaunch the club. Using a couple of events and using Panther Tracks. So we're hoping again that we can kind of get people back interested in this and keep that going. It was a bummer though, that was the loss of my best use case because they were uploading content. They were excited about it. The third one and final one, this is Madison Beach. She was the speaker of our student government at the time. She is now our student representative on our board of trustees. So they were very excited to get all their minutes and resolutions, all this print content out of their offices. They wanted space, and they're like, we just want this out, and please digitize all of it. So it's a huge project. We're about halfway through it right now. We put their stuff up. That's a great success. The startling impact thing there is where I went back to Student Senate and I showed them, here's what it looks like online. I had put one of the impact maps on it, right, where things were being, and at the time I was talking to them, tons of content was being downloaded to mainland China. And so they were like, why? And I said, I don't know. There's probably things that you were talking about that are very interesting to a researcher in China, but it's great because it's showing your impact. So, so anyway, in this whole process of getting students to come on board and getting them to be involved with this, I've learned two things. One is it is really, really popular. Just you create this concept of Panther Tracks, this concept of this is how you preserve your life. People glom on to that pretty quickly. So I've since had homecoming committee come to me with a ton of stuff and say we want this in there. I've had housing and dining come to me with decades worth of material, saying that they want their collections in Panther Tracks. So that's really taken off. The second big one is I'm finding what I call a structural choke point. Like essentially, if I have a student group and they do the same events every year, easy, I know what to do. But if they decide, oh, we're gonna do a bingo night now, and they do their bingo night, and there is no structure for a bingo night, right? So I have to try to ease that process of how they can request structures. So what I'm intending to do is to use LibWizard, as Meredith has talked about, and set up a button that says request a page. And it'll be request a page for photos, request a page for documents, video, audio files. When they click that button, they'll get a LibWizard form. They'll basically say, tell us what this is, fill in the information, and a question that says, do you have more than 20 items, yes or no? If they have more than 20 items, if they say yes to that, what they're going to get back is the structure, and they're going to get back a one shared drive to drop their content into so that I can do batch uploading for them. Because that's been the big question is, we have 50 items, we don't want to do it one at a time, what do we do? So that's my intention there. I just want to make it easier, and I'm wondering if there's a way to use AI to do so. So I have a number of different possibilities here. Transcribing is coming up as an issue, so I'm interested in trying out Rev and using that. And just some of the other things like speeding metadata creation, pre-populating it, and then having it a way to make it editable, I think would be really great. And I think, how did I do on time? Did I do all right?
You're on time. Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, great. Yeah.
Thank you.